Good morning, online. All right, come on in. All right, everybody, clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. Love it. All right, guys. Well, hey, let's get this party started. Happy Thursday. We got a lot of Tell Me Something Goods. I was going around the room, and there are a lot of people with a lot of Tell Me Something Goods to share. I'm going to kick it off with David over here. He came up to me and he said, Johnny, I have some commitments for you. What were those commitments? Because I love that. He's like, hold me accountable. If this isn't done by midnight, I owe you a cigar.
By midnight, no, it's not a matter of it's going to be done. It's going to be done. By Sunday night, 100 texts, 100 calls, and 10 5-star reviews.
Boom. Love it. Thank you so much. All right. And who else down the road has to tell me something good? Did you have anything, Gina?
Yeah. I have 2 buyers in the pipe and hopeful that these are going to fruition anytime soon.
Love it. Keep going, keep going. And then who's coming around? Clark.
Yeah, we just closed a very complicated transaction. One transaction ended up being 2 transactions. We had to split off the property and because of the anyway, long story.
Yeah.
It was quite an ordeal and ended up opening 2 escrows on one property.
Wow.
There was 3 lots and a house and a lot.
Stop it some more.
And the lender did not know what they were doing. It
Wasn't JJ?
wasn't him. So the buyer ended up switching lenders. We didn't handle, or actually Don handled the buyer. And so we had to split up the 3 lots because they were all separate APN numbers. And this is something, if you ever run across this before, they just want to sell the whole thing as one package.
Yeah.
Well, a lender can only lend if the parcels are highest and best use. Then you can't do it as a one package deal. So, and I did not know that. So I developed property, but so we ended up doing it. I tell you, escrow officers involved, the new lender involved, everything just. I mean, we ended up switching gears and closing in about 9 days.
Wow.
It was like a whole new transaction. We had
With Christmas and New Year involved in that new time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
Oh man.
it was only 3.5-month escrow.
Okay.
And
So it was a Christmas miracle, is what you're saying.
Contingent on another property selling.
Oh my gosh.
Added feature in it. It just goes to show you just never give up.
Yep. Never get up.
You never give up. I've put together a lot of different deals. This one was unique, but it's just because if you have a willing buyer and a willing seller, there's always a way to work it out.
I agree 100%. Pretty girl, what do you got?
I'm in a similar situation, actually. I've had an escrow open since October that finally closed.
Oh.
Okay. No lawsuits. Yay, no lawsuits. All right, Haley, what do you got?
I closed one and then simultaneously they closed with a Ohio EXP agent that got them in a house within like a week. So that was awesome. And then I got 5 listings coming up.
Boom, way to go, Haley. And then Anna in the back.
Yes, closed my purchase transaction, which is 2nd transaction for this year.
Wow. My last but certainly not least, Miss Crystal Ray, what do you got?
I got my first listing this weekend.
Awesome. So a lot of good stuff happening. The 2024 year is kicking off hard. And so despite what you may be hearing in the news, just think about today, think about people in this room, and it's gonna be a good year. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped you, Rob. Second best for last.
A final walkthrough of our space next door on the 25th. So if everything looks good, we've got a couple of setbacks, but if everything looks good, we'll be getting the keys on the 1st, and then I need to explode in there for a little bit of time. So just a couple things about here. I'm going to kill 4 offices here to save me $10,000 spent on furniture over there. So you'll see the lounge just kind of going away at the end of the month. The bummer is I go to Maui here in a week and a half.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get all that stuff before I go to Maui and run that event. But so we're gonna kill 4 offices here. So just be patient, because when we get over there, you're gonna have tons more space. As you can see today, they're bringing up 50 of these right now. You can see these big panes of glass are coming up and all being installed over there. Close to 50, 46 or something like that. And And so it'll be downsizing over here, and then we'll get open over there. So my goal is to explode for a week or so, and then have everybody in there by the 15th or so of February. And then our grand opening with Brent's lights going around the red carpet and the live band, if I can get all that together. 2 days after Cabo, that's March 12th. So if you want to mark your calendars for March 12th, we'll get that done. And so you come in, Doc. And so it's gonna be a beautiful space. It's for you, a huge co-working area, 17 offices, 4 of those, 5 of those will be reservable for you to be able to reserve offices for different things. We'll have a cafe, the snack bar will be better, the coffee will be better, all those things. So anyways, we're excited to do that. Excited to, there'll be a podcast studio, video studio. And so hopefully it will not only help you do your business better, but help you be able to build your teams. And so we want to help you do that too. So yeah, and my wife just closed, we've got 2 new listings, so I'm out of her.
Way to go, Cindy. Love it. All right, so we have a special guest. I don't know if you guys noticed the guy.
Sorry. Sorry, can I share?
Oh, absolutely, Christina.
Okay, I have a new listing in El Dorado Hills. 5-bedroom, 4-bath, $1,025,000. So if anyone has anyone looking in El Dorado Hills, let me know.
Will do. Thank you so much. Congratulations, by the way. We're giving her a round of applause.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And so Purple holds a special place in my heart. We worked for a great Purple company back in the day. And raise your hand if you use Good Life Pest Inspections in here. Okay. So if you do, then you may already know these guys. If you don't, you need to know them. I was on a text thread recently. Raise your hand if you're on the Brent Gove text thread on Facebook or the Facebook thread, right? There was a question recently, hey, who is a good roofing contractor? Unanimously from different sources, it was these guys. And so we just want to bring them in, present to you in case you don't, in case you're in need of a good roofing contractor. John, you guys mind coming up?
Yeah, of course.
Do they do roof inspections? Mm-hmm. Yep. And so everybody
Pretty good here.
clap them all up.
Well, thank you so much for having us. I'm gonna stand up on the side and get behind you. I'm Mike Loveland. I'm the founder of almost 40 years now. It's my son. Excited to bring him on board here a few years back. But thanks so much for having us over here. So we've always been a family business. We're small enough to keep giving that personal touch, but big enough to kind of meet everyone's needs. So we're here to just answer questions, introduce our company, and we're based out of Newcastle. We currently have a piece of property in Rockland where we're going to be breaking ground here. So
it's
we're
cool to
excited.
hear that you guys are spreading
about
out
that.
too, so
Yeah.
we're getting big headquarters just down the road.
I love what you said just a second ago about regardless of what you see in the news, ignore it. You know, you put your head down, you go to work, and things happen. I think it's going to be a great year.
Yeah.
So
Just to touch a little bit on our company, in case you haven't heard of us, that's totally fine if you haven't. Like my dad said, Mike, we're father-son owners. We used to be a small mom and pop company, but we've grown up quite a lot in the last, 42 years of business. And it's been a lot of fun. We've been here in the area, and we work with thousands, just a lot of realtors and property managers. And I'm glad that Johnny, came let us come on board. And Good Life is one of our partners. And if you ever know, Good Life, North American Home Services, they just rebranded. We're their go-to roofer. And so as a roofing contractor, to be totally transparent and honest with you, we stay in our lane. We're not the type of contractor that poses to do, siding, windows, HVAC, all this. We do roofing, repairs, re-roofs, gutters, and everything that kind of umbrellas from that. And so what we offer all of our clients, especially our realtor clients, if you ever need more materials, we brought some good stuff back there. There's some flyers, pens, sticky
And
notes.
donuts.
And donuts. Yeah, there's a couple dozen donuts, so go grab one. But as far as working, obviously in the real estate market, we're very familiar with it. We've been doing it for decades, especially with escrow deadlines. Aligning with pest inspections, home inspections. Do I have to build to escrow? All sorts of things. We're very familiar with that process, and we try and accommodate as best we can. This is just a little, I know it's not on the cool projector, but we do offer when we go give an inspection, it's a full 50-point inspection and it's free. Free, $0 free. We do that on purpose. Some people don't believe us, but to be totally honest, as a family company, we believe, and I firmly believe, that we shouldn't charge a customer unless there's actually work that needs to be done. Just to go give them an inspection or a quote, like if you go to a mechanic or something, you know, I personally hate it when they charge me $200 just to tell me that I need to pay another $5,000, you know? So we do free inspections on purpose. It's a real 50-point inspection. That's not gimmicky marketing. Our inspectors have a checklist of 50 items they go through. Long story short, that's roofing, flashings, gutters, and woodwork, all surrounding the roofing. And then we're very educational. We try and sit down with the customer. We have this goofy saying, we call it rolling out the purple carpet for our customers. And so we really try and practice what we preach. So that's one thing we give our customers. They get this 1-pager document and just tells them a little bit about us. Like, you know, for example, we're in the top 1% out of all the roofing companies in the area. You know, and that's on, you know, look us up on Google. We have almost 500 5-star reviews. We've, you know, been around for over 40 years, served probably 30,000 customers. So definitely, you know, don't take my word for it, check us out. And then the other thing that's part of that 1-pager is we hold their hand through that process. The vast majority of homeowners, especially if it's a re-roof, have never really had to call a roofer and get roofing work done. It's something you do once every 10 years, 20 years. Sometimes people never do it. Obviously, you guys have dealt with that a lot because of your career, you know, but because we recognize that, we educate them through that process. So we have a lot of resources and kind of, you know, guides to help them what to expect. The way we do our inspections is very transparent. It's a red, yellow, green system. And for example, if you got a concrete tile home and the roof's 20 years old, really common, Sun City, we work there every day. We'll say, hey, 80% of this roof's in green. Don't worry about it. Don't try and, you know, think you have to get a re-roof or anything. Maybe 10% of this is yellow. Think about it. It might leak in the next, you know, 2 to 5 years. And then this other little 5–10%, it is probably leaking right now, if not, you know, this winter. And we try and be very clear with that and not pushy at all. So that's a little bit about us. Obviously, we didn't want to take all your time. This is your meeting. Just want to give a quick intro. And it's fun working with the Good Life team. Just to kind of answer that, if you have a question, you can go to us or Good Life. I'd recommend you go to Good Life because then they have the one-stop shop package, and then the roofing is part of their whole beautiful package. We're always here if you have some one-off thing, but yeah, we love working with them too. They're great. So yeah, that's us. If you have any questions, you know, we're more than happy to answer them. But if not, we don't want to impede on your meeting. So
is the best way to get a hold of you just Google Loveland? Yeah, that's really easy. I mean, there's a bunch of, you know, names. There's some flyers and educational things in that little purple kiosk. There's things about, do I need a re-roof? Do I need a repair? There's that little magnets you can stick on the fridge for just, you know, we could email, text, call. Yeah, we have a client care department.
He's put together a really good website too that introduces a lot of stuff.
Definitely.
You know, a lot of people, a lot of homeowners don't know much about roofing. So one of the things that we do like to focus on is our inspections, our estimates, our work in progress, and the finished product is done with a lot of photos and explanations. Because it's a lot easier to teach people why we need to do this, what's going on, stuff like that. Yeah. So
awesome.
Do you guys ever have any, you obviously we're good with home warranty, but do you ever do anything like some of the other, Johnny, you'll probably remember who, they'll do the work and have it, kind of a mechanics lien on the home? Do you guys do any kind of model like that or no?
Like if we put a mechanics lien on the home?
If you do the work, have it, like if I'm trying to sell my house and I need roof work done.
Yeah.
And rather than coming out of pocket, some vendors, I'm blank on Facebook.
Put it in escrow.
Yeah, put it in escrow or have it,
That's what.
have you guys pay?
Oh,
close
yeah,
escrow?
we do that all the time. Sorry. We
Pay
say
for
mechanics
escrow.
lien. I thought you meant, I've known contractors to kind of start out with the mechanics lien and say, pay me or else, you know. We don't do that, but yeah, we go through escrow all the time. Title companies, however it's, you know, structured, we do that a lot. Yeah. It's a great.
Good question. Yeah. Any other questions for them? All right, guys, thank you so much. Give
Yeah,
a round of applause,
thank
please. All right, and then before we get to our keynote speakers, teaching us on how to save money on taxes. JJ Mack, what's happening in the wonderful world of lending?
Yeah, all right, guys. And I'm gonna throw a couple of these on the desk here if you guys want to check that out. We're having a vision board party. So if you guys are interested, for checking that out. There it is, Johnny. Love it, man. Thank you. All you gotta do is just scroll there on your little camera and sign up for that. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have it have McCoonies there. We're going to have a.
Did you say Cooney?
Y'all better screenshot or get RSVP.
Almost don't want to say that. You gotta come for the vision board, not for the sushi. There will be sushi there too.
Brent's gonna come from Puerto Rico.
I know. I shouldn't have said that. Should be a surprise. And then, yeah, we're gonna have a little DJ. It'll be fun, but the real mentality behind this is to come, what do you want to do this year? Is it, is it religion? Are you trying to pray more? You're gonna have a little, Bible on your thing? Are you trying to, lose some weight and have a treadmill? You're gonna.
Why'd you look at me when you said that?
Trying to close restaurants. Exactly. I should have cigars on there for Johnny.
Yeah.
So anyways, if you want to take advantage, feel free to do that, and looking forward to seeing some of you there. But definitely do the QR code if you're coming, so that I know how many boards to get.
Did you guys get it? Are we good to take that down? Yeah? All right, I'm taking it down.
Okay, so can somebody anybody know here? I'm going to share a story with you guys, and I've probably shared this with a couple of you already. So I'm sorry if you've already heard this, but I think it's important for you all to hear. It's a very, I feel like this is one of my favorite stories to tell, not because of the outcome of it, but because of what it means to be a lender in this market. And so, everybody here knows who Einstein is. Anybody, he once said, try not to be a man of success, but be a man of value. Love it. And so, I know I've talked to you guys about value and what that means to me. A lot of people will say that they want to be valuable, they want to do all this value, but what does that actually mean? When I first got into the business, I was a man of success. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to make money. That's all I could think about. But through this 15 years, things have changed. I realized that now it's not about being successful. It's about being valuable. Success comes with that. What happened, I first got in this industry, I got a client from a real estate agent. The realtor was working for a company named Fusion Real Estate at the time. And he referred me to this lady. Her name was Courtney. Courtney was a great gal. She and her husband, they lived with their 5 kids, and they wanted to purchase their first home. They had never purchased a home before. It was an awesome experience for them. We got them into their home, and I moved on, right? And I'm a newer loan officer, been in it for a couple of years. After this happened, I was able to then, a year later, prices had been going up. I got in the business in 2008. So prices, at that point, they kind of halted, obviously, and things went down, but things had gone up at that point. She called me, she said, I need to sell my house. So you just bought it a year ago. Why do you want to sell it? She said, well, I can't afford it. So, well, why not? I was like, something wrong? What happened? She's like, my husband just passed away. He had cancer and this all happened. It's like, so I had to compose myself, say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I've never been put in this position as a, newbie in the industry. I don't know what to say. I said, well, you'll be fine. Life insurance will cover you. It'll pay off the mortgage and you'll pay for several other things. You'll be all right. What do you think that she told me?
No
life insurance. And so at that point, it gave me a new reason for why I was in this industry. It wasn't to try and be a successful loan officer. It was to trying to add value to the clients. And so after that, it made me realize that this is what I need to do going forward from here. And so my whole point in telling you this is what we're here to do in this industry isn't just to sell real estate, isn't just to give a mortgage to somebody, but is to make sure that when we do put them in these homes, we're giving them the value that they need to say, hey, what other services can I offer you? This isn't about me selling you life insurance, about selling you a financial advisor, about selling you, whatever we can do for you to help you grow in success. That's what we want to do for you. And here are some of the reasons why I want to help you with that life insurance because of this story here today.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that with you all. I'm going to give you a little bit more information about interest rates and stuff. I wanted to share the downer news first about kind of that whole story, but the reason behind it was strong. So sorry if some of you had heard that before, but I thought it was important.
Yeah,
and the reason why I do what I do, so you know a little bit more about me. With that being said, we are seeing rates flatten out. So over this last week, we've seen them pretty constant. So last week to this week, they're around the same. They're a little bit better today. They're about 16, 17 basis points. but we've seen these kind of stay flat. We do have some pretty big news coming out next week. There's some more jobs and inflation data. So I hope that with this next week brings some better news. We see this, the bond market kind of go up with interest rates going down. So we'll see what that brings. We do have a couple, I want to be cautious of time. I know we're kind of spinning this, so I won't go any too much depth on other programs and stuff, but anybody have any questions or lending needs or anything that I can help with today?
I want to give a shout out to you for everybody for JJ's event for the vision board. So I am very blessed to get to be a part of masterminds with Brent, and at every level that you can imagine. At the beginning of the year, every one of these masterminds, the people that I just wish that I get to talk to, they all talk about vision boards. Okay, the only difference is the things on the vision boards get bigger, right? But they all do it. Right? It's all about setting a goal to aim for. So check out JJ's thing. Vision boards are very important.
Thanks, Brad.
Awesome, thank you.
DMC roles.
They are, yes. And thanks so for the, we got a lead this week too, together. So thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
That was something good.
Question, Ginger, for my, son and his wife, they're VA, but they're also first-time home buyers. Any benefit to either right now?
Well, the VA loan is
Always great.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to beat.
Yeah.
0% down and so small of a funding fee type mortgage
Yeah.
insurance situation.
Yeah.
So yes, there are some other benefits that we have for service members.
Yeah.
So just at American Pacific Mortgage, our fees are reduced. So things like that could be helpful. But the zero down payment is such a great program.
Yeah, so there's no first-time home buyer program, even like a California one or something, that's gonna beat the VA, right? For the most part.
No, because a lot of those down payment assistance programs are going to have that second mortgage attached to it.
Oh,
And even
yeah.
though it's not,
Yeah.
payable monthly, it is gonna be paid back at some point.
Okay, that's good.
And the ones that are grants sometimes have slightly higher rates. The
Uh-huh.
VA just has such a great
No, yeah,
interest
it's
rate,
great.
low down
It's a-
payment. Yeah, I love it.
Good
Okay,
question.
yeah, good.
Good question.
What I've seen lately, that a lot of VA loans are assumable loans from the
Yes.
last few years. So you can assume like a VA loan at whatever the previous rate was if you have the difference to cover it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing about assumables, just everyone keep in mind, they just take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Most of the time you take, about 2 months, 2.5 months to go through. Or for your people that got, I gotta get in the house, like I just got a call this week, I have to get into a house in 30 days. Love that call, right? But not a person that I'll be like, you should assume their loan, because
Yeah.
you're gonna be homeless for about a month.
Mhm.
So just a heads up.
Good stuff. All right, well, thanks so much, JD. Looking forward to seeing you at the vision board party. Yeah, I'm gonna throw this up here really quick. Want to just touch bases on a couple of events coming up. Forgot to do this earlier. So if you go to brentgove.com, you can find all of these events there. Rob's going to be in Maui. He's going to be leading this event that's coming up. It's not too late to register for that. And then shortly after that, we have Cabo. So if you haven't registered yet, go ahead and do so. And then if you go to brentgove.com and look up under the local events tab right here, it'll also show you what we're doing this entire year at PCAR. We don't have all the speakers, but we have all the topics. So next week, we won't be meeting here. We're going to be at PCAR, and we're flying in Nate Butcher, and he is going to be speaking on, Kixie's really fighting me right now. He is going to be speaking on how to master prospecting. So this is a guy who has a massive team down in LA, sold thousands of homes. He's going to be coming and teaching us in person at PCAR this coming Thursday. So it's free. The event is free. So if you're not there, you're square. All right. And then after that, we have Pipes coming. And then after that, we have Ryan Lundquist speaking. So we got some rock stars that are coming in the first quarter over at PCAR. Any questions on this?
How to sign up, just scroll on down, Johnny, and each one is, keep scrolling. Each one is clickable down there.
So if you want to sign up and go for the next one, you just click on Nate Butcher's lovely face and it'll take you to the Eventbrite and you can register right there. All right. Cool. Thank you, Rob. That helps. All right. So with that, all the housekeeping is done. All the market updates are complete. We're here to hear from wonderful Kathy Hills. Everybody, please welcome to the front of the room. It's Kathy Hills.
morning. I'm so happy to be here with you this morning. I founded and started a company 20 years ago called Tax Tiger. People ask me what I do. I say, I fight the IRS. And so I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes this morning about how I fight the IRS. I'm going to break my talk up into 4 short parts. The first one is going to be about Tax Tiger, a little bit about it so that you can feel good with who's talking to you today. I'm going to talk to you about how not to get in trouble with the IRS with taxes. Third, I'm going to talk to you about if you are in trouble with the IRS and owe them, what to do about it. And fourth, some questions and answers. And so I have been doing real estate presentations for years, all around the Sacramento area. I stopped doing them when COVID hit a couple of years ago. And I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys today because of I have thousands of clients, and of the biggest majority of all of them nationally are real estate agents, believe it or not. And so that's why I take a personal attention to real estate agents. So I'm here to talk to you today personally about that subject matter. But let me start with who is Tax Tiger? So this is a really cool story. I'm going to shorten it because it's a long one, but I'm going to make it real short. But it's a very cool story. At least it is to me. So 20 years ago, folks, I was working for Rayleigh's corporate office. I was working in the corporate world. I knew nothing about taxes, zero, and didn't want to know either. And so, but a friend of mine had a tax problem and said to me one day, I got online and looked, and there's 100 tax companies online that I could choose, and I don't know who to choose. I don't know who's credible and who's not. And I said, well, I don't either, because I don't know anything about taxes. But I'm a good researcher. So I will get online and I will research these companies for you and see if I can find a credible one that I can advise you on. Now that started a journey that ends here today, but I got online and what I found was so shocking, I could barely believe it. So at the time, this is 20 years ago, I found 3 major mega firms, huge firms that do this kind of work. One here in Sacramento, one in Texas, and one in South Carolina. The one here in Sacramento, some of you may have heard of the Law Office of Ronnie Deutsch.
Yeah.
Okay, so these 3 major firms were doing something like $30 million a year in revenue. These 3 major firms, after some research, showed me that they were not credible firms, that they were taking people's money and doing nothing to fix the problem. And all 3 of these major firms had gotten away with it for 15 plus years. How can that be? That you can defraud the public and get away with it that long, being that major of a company? I could not wrap my head around that. I took a look at the 97 mid-sized firms nationally and found them to be the same. And now I see that this is a corrupt industry. I'm generalizing now, straight across the board. And I could not find one honest company that I could refer to my friend. And it was at that point, and I'm a Christian faith-based company, I'll say that right up front. Awesome. Thank you. And it was at that point that God spoke to my heart and said, Kathy, it needs to be you. I said, what? No, no. Yeah, it needs to be you. I want you to jump into this industry, start a company that will stand head and shoulders above the rest and deliver spectacular results for a reasonable fee. And I heard that in my thoughts. And I grew up in a pastor's family. My dad's been a pastor all my life. I had this talk with God, and I said, why are you asking me to do this? I know nothing about taxes. I don't have a business degree. I don't have any money to start a business. That's a recipe for failure in today's business world. Why can't you find a really brilliant tax attorney or a CPA that already knows tax stuff and have them do this? And God said back to me, no, I know all those excuses you just said to me, but no, I choose you. I said, oh. And so I really struggled with that. Folks, I took the biggest leap of faith I've ever taken in my life. That was scary, and I didn't want to do it. And I knew, how am I going to face off against the giants in the industry, little me? And God said back to me, look, you don't need a business degree to do this. You can learn what you need to learn about taxes, and I'll provide the money for you to start a business. And I'll go with you every single day. And I went, oh, I prayed about it. And finally, I said to God, okay, I'll do this, but you're going to have to walk it with me every day because this is too hard for me. Taxes are hard to learn. Fighting the IRS is not an easy thing. And 20 years ago, when I started this at the very bottom of 100 companies, I didn't know why God chose me. Why? But I do know today because I have and always have had a tiger mentality. I'm going to fight the IRS like a tiger for you, for everybody that I represent, and no one else out there does that. No one else out there cares a darn about you as a client except how much money they can get from you. But I don't care about how much money I can get from you. I do this because I want to make a difference in your life financially. I want to give you success in fighting the IRS. And that's why I do this. And as I went year by year by year, God blessed. I grew and I grew. Ronnie Deutsch went down, almost went to jail for defrauding the public. So did the other two firms, the major ones that I told you about. And I continued to grow. And God blessed. I'm going to show you some results of my work in a few minutes here, but it's phenomenal. And so as I was gaining this reputation and all of this success, I said, okay, Lord, I guess you knew what you were saying to me all those years ago. So fast forward to today, 20 years later, I have clients in all 50 states. I have had the most amazing success that I could ever have imagined. I have multiple offices, and instead of being at the bottom, I'm #1 in the nation with my results. So that's thank you. Thank you. That's who Tax Tiger is. Now, how do you stay out of tax trouble if you're a real estate agent? So this is something that you're going to want to really pay close attention to, because self-employed people in general and real estate agents in particular are much more prone to get into tax trouble. Reason is you guys are self-employed. You don't have taxes withheld from your check when you get paid. You make a sale, you make a real estate sale, you get a commission, and you live on that commission, and you probably mentally say to yourself, well, I know I have to pay taxes and I don't quite have the money this time, but next time I make a sale, I'll set aside a little bit of money for taxes, and then next time comes and you don't, because that's what you live on. And I can tell you this with a surety because I have so many real estate agents as clients. And so they mean well, but then the end of the year comes and you owe a lot of money to the IRS because no taxes were withheld. And you don't have the money to pay it. And now what do? Okay, so I'll get to what you do in a second, but to prevent that going forward, my advice to every real estate group I talk to is this. Folks, you've got to discipline yourself. Every time you make a commission, set aside in a separate savings account 20%. At least 20%. And don't touch it. Every time. And then you will stop finding yourself in tax trouble. Now, could you owe a little bit more? Maybe. A little bit less, maybe. But that's a good rule of thumb, 20%. Set it aside. And so I have had over the years people call me and say, thank you, Kathy. Thank you for that advice. I need to discipline myself to do that because I've never done that before. I mean well, but it just goes by me. I tell myself I don't have the money. I don't have the money to set any aside. You got to, people, or you're gonna end up visiting me next. Not that I don't want you to visit me, but I mean, I'd rather you didn't. So set aside 20%. Now, what do you do if you do owe the IRS? And that's thousands upon thousands of real estate agents across this country. And today, it would shock you to know that hundreds of thousands of people across the United States, just people in general, taxpayers, owe the IRS. Reason you don't know those figures is because people are too embarrassed to say when they do. So you're never probably going to hear it. I hear it every day. And it isn't just self-employed people. You wouldn't believe who call me all the time. Doctors, lawyers, teachers, engineers. It runs the gamut of all occupations for many reasons. Either they're not having enough tax withheld from their paycheck if they're a W-2 employee, or they took out a big chunk of their 401k because they needed it for some reason and they didn't pay the taxes on it. All kinds of reasons people owe from all walks of life. And it breaks my heart to hear some of the stories that I do. I mean, 2 times this last week, I cried on the phone with the person I was with because I have a heart for people. I love people. And they got into circumstances that were really beyond their control. It wasn't intentional. And so I have compassion on people that get into tax trouble. One guy called me this week and said, I own my own business. I'm a consultant. I haven't filed a tax return in 10 years. You would be shocked if you knew how many people haven't filed returns in many years. And they think they can get away with it. No, you can't get away with it. It might take a while for the IRS to catch up to you, but they will catch up to you. Now the IRS caught up to him. I couldn't believe the story this guy told me. He said, the IRS notified me that I had to file. I ignored it. They sent notice after notice. I ignored them. IRS agent, local IRS agent got assigned to my case because when one of the local guys from the local IRS office gets assigned to you, you're in deep trouble then. They came and knocked on my door, left their business card and said, you better come and see me. I ignored it. If you ignore a revenue officer, then they send you a summons. That's a legal document that summons you to a meeting with them, and you better not ignore that. He got a summons next, he ignored it. Then they sent a second summons, and he ignored that. Then the IRS agent went to court. Now, I mean, I rarely see cases that go to this level, rarely, but now it's in court. And the judge ordered this client, this taxpayer, to meet with the revenue officer in 10 days from now. And to have all those last 10 years of tax returns filed. And meet with me in 10 days under threat of bench warrant arrest. And that is what got his attention. Come on, are you kidding me? I'm not kidding you. I said, and I didn't beat him up. It's not my job to beat somebody up. I said to him, sir, can I just ask you a question? Why did you ignore all these notices? Why didn't you file your tax returns? And you know what he said to me? I just didn't feel like it. This is a man that has his own business, a consulting business, and had $5 million in savings, because I do a financial analysis for everybody that comes to me. Are you kidding me? And I said, okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you because I do file tax returns out of my office too. I have a separate department. I'm going to help you. I don't know if I can do it in 10 days, but you're going to pay me a lot of money because now I have to bring you to the top of all my other clients. I won't tell you what I charged them, but it was still reasonable. So now. Well, that's one example. I mean, so person after person after person, after person after person calls me every day. I don't talk to all of them. I'm the CEO of the company. If I have time, I do. But I have a staff that talks to them. I have a staff that negotiates with the IRS. Back in the beginning, I negotiated with the IRS myself. I don't anymore, but in the beginning I did. And my tiger mentality came out every time because the IRS lies to you. A government agency should never lie to the public. We won't get into that, but I could go off on that soapbox too. But nevertheless, the IRS does. And what they don't anticipate is anybody calling them on their lives. Because none of these other tax firms out there do. And people call the IRS without going to a firm like mine for help because they think they can deal with the IRS themselves. No, don't ever do that, folks. Never. Because you will not be told the truth. You will be not told your taxpayer bill of rights, and there's 10 rights that Congress passed years ago. There's a taxpayer bill of rights. You have rights. They won't tell you that. They'll lie to you. They will use scare tactics on you to scare you and force you to do something that you don't want to do or that I wouldn't have done. And so back 20 years ago, when I started fighting the IRS, I started building a reputation and a name inside the IRS. They hate me. The IRS hates me. Because when
That's your best 5-star review. So federal 5-star.
Oh, but you know what? When the first time an IRS, see, that's why I had to really learn the IRS regulations, rules, and tax laws so I could fight them. Because if you don't know how to fight them, you have to use their own regulations against them that are in black and white. That's the only way to beat them. So I learned all those. And then the first time I got somebody on the phone that told me something that wasn't true, I knew it. And I said, no, I'm not going with that. Well, that's the way it is, because they think they're God at the IRS and you will do what they say. Well, I don't. And so the only way to fight somebody that in the IRS that's telling you the wrong thing and won't budge is to say, give me your manager's name and phone number, because they all have one. And the law says they have to give it to you. They don't like to, but they have to. So then I go to the manager. So-and-so and so-and-so isn't doing the right thing. This is what you need to do. And 9 times out of 10, the manager will fix it for me. But on that one time they don't, and they hold up for their revenue officer underneath them, then I'm going to say, what is your manager's name and phone number? Because it goes like this. There's a revenue officer, there's a manager, there's a district manager, there's a regional manager, and all the way up about 5 or 6 levels. And I've done them all. And won, because I don't go up the chain unless I know I'm right. And I can quote it to them in black and white. So I win every time. Now, there is a program that the IRS has for those of you who do owe the IRS or know somebody who does. I'm going to pass out some samples of this in a second. But there's a program that the IRS put together that Congress approved years ago. Before I ever got into this business 20 years ago, this program was in place. It's called the offer and compromise. It means they'll settle with you for what you owe if you can qualify for it. Am I on my 30 minutes? If you can qualify. Now, not everybody that comes to see me qualifies, but many do. To qualify, we have to analyze your assets and what equity you have in anything you own. And we have to analyze your monthly income, your family incomes, both spouses, and your living expenses. And if I can prove that you can't afford to pay back what you owe, which I do hundreds of times a year, they'll settle with you. So I decided in my first year of business that I was going to specialize in that program, because that saves thousands of people many thousands of dollars. So that's where I'm going to put my focus. So I learned it. I learned all the black and white and the rules and the regulations. and I found a loophole in the program. And I'll tell you what, I'm an honest company and I will never do anything dishonest, but if I can find a loophole in their regulations, I'm walking right through it. So I found a loophole. Give you one example and then I'll be close to the end. I saw the offer and compromise program said when I was studying it, we will settle with a taxpayer who meets the qualifications. And they didn't say a dollar amount. Here's where they went wrong. They didn't say we'll settle for X dollar amount. They said we will settle for whatever is the taxpayer's ability to pay. Is that an open-ended statement?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I read that several times and I went, wait a minute. Because the theory behind this program that they put in place kind of went like this. Well, if you owe the IRS $50,000, maybe we'll settle with you for $25,000. That way it's a win-win situation. The taxpayer gets his debt cut in half and we get half. And so we don't, you know, so that's the theory behind the program. Except they put in that little phrase, the taxpayer's ability to pay. And I snatched on that. And then I said, I'm going to do an experiment. The next client that walks through my door that meets the qualifications has no money left over at the end of the month at all. Owes a lot of money. When I fill out the paperwork that says, how much do you offer to settle for? I'm going to write down $20. No, they won't settle for zero. I'm going to write down $20. That had never been done before, folks. The IRS never did that, but I put it down there and I knew I was going to get fight back from them, but I sent it in. It takes about 3 months for them to even get back to you. So pretty soon this lady gets back to me and she had my paperwork and she said, rude lady, what in the world is this? I said, what do you mean, what in the world is this? It's my offer for my taxpayer. No, it says $20 on here. I know it does. Well, we don't do that. I said, why not? Because we don't do that in here. This is ridiculous. You submitted a frivolous offer and there's no way in the world I will acknowledge this offer. I said, ma'am, I said, it seems a shame that I have to advise you of your own regulations that are in black and white. Maybe you haven't read them for quite a while, but I'm going to read them to you. Does it not say that you will settle for whatever is my taxpayer's ability to pay if they qualify? Yes, it says that, but no buts. Does my taxpayer qualify? Does he have any assets? No. Does he have any money left over at the end of the month? Well, no, but no, don't say but to me. So he meets the qualifications. Yes, but we don't settle for $20. Why not? Well, because we just don't. No, ma'am, that's not acceptable to me. Now, I knew I was going to get that response. I knew I had one more shot at it. Because if the first level of people turn you down at the IRS, you've got appeal rights. You've got one more shot at it. That's it. If you lose on the second shot, you're done. But I knew I had another shot. So I said, send my case to appeals. Oh, well, they're not going to do anything different than I'm saying. Send it to appeals. That's my right. So she had to. So another 3 months goes by and I get a call. And this guy says to me, I have your case. I'm in the appeals department. What in the world is this? I said, you people sound like a broken record. I said, what do you mean? What in the world is this? It's my offer. He said, no, we don't do that. I said, sir, does my client qualify? Yes, but no, don't say but to me. Does my client qualify? Yes. Okay. Does the IRS regulation, I said, it's a shame I have to repeat the regulations to every single person I talk to. You people need to start reading your regulations a little more. Does it not say that you will settle for whatever is their ability to pay? Yes. Then he didn't say but then. Yes. Okay. Here's what my client has the ability to pay. He can borrow $20 from his brother. And that's his ability to pay. Pure and simple. And he says, well, I said, no, now before you say anything more, I'm gonna add a couple of things while you're thinking about this, because there's dead silence on the phone now. While you're thinking about this, let me tell you something. If you turn me down, I'm going over your head to your manager. I'm gonna tell your manager that you're discarding IRS regulations that is against the law. And while I'm going over your head to your manager, I think I'll also call a press conference. And I'll tell the whole world that the IRS ignores their own regulations in violation of law. And the general public already hates the IRS, so that's just gonna put the icing on the cake. Is that what you want me to do? You want me to hold a press conference? And I'm gonna, oh, I said, I think the repercussions to you are not gonna be good. And now there's really dead silence. And I just sit there and wait because the next person that talks loses, right? So I just sit there and I say nothing. And finally, he says, well, technically you're right. No technical about it. I am right. He said, okay, I'm gonna grant your $20 offer. So that was my first $20 offer. And since then I've gotten hundreds upon hundreds of, that's why the IRS hates me. So.
There you go.
I'm gonna pass out some samples. You guys take these, take one and pass it down the row.
Business cards as well.
I'm gonna do that. Take one and pass it down the row. These are samples, just a few of my settlement offers. One of these, pass it down the row. Take one of these, pass it down the row.
So you're advocating none of us pay taxes, and they're just gonna say, is that your saying?
Boy, isn't that tempting?
So for those of you online, basically what it's saying is she's saving her clients 99% or more in their IRS debt.
Here you go, pass those down.
Now I'm gonna leave some extra cards and some extra brochures here for anybody that wants to take an extra. Now, lastly, what do you do if you owe the IRS? I just gave you a couple of cool examples. Hard fought, that's the tiger in me that comes out. But if you owe the IRS, call me for an appointment. I give free consultations. It costs you nothing to come and see me. I will give you an honest evaluation of your options. I will not tell you, like all these other firms out there do, that you qualify for a settlement offer when you don't. I will give you honest information. The consultation is free. And I do consultations, and so does my staff, all day long, every day, all over the United States, because now I'm on the radio nationally on several different radio stations, Fox News and Joel Osteen, to name two. And so it keeps me busy, but I love what I do. Come and see me. If you know of anybody that has a tax problem, tell them to call me. You all have my business card now. My phone number's on it. So I will help you figure it out. All right, questions and answers.
Yeah, I've got a couple online. So do you revise previous tax returns?
Revise?
Or like it says, do you amend?
Yes. You can only amend a tax return within the last 3 years. If it's older than 3 years, they won't let you amend it. But anything within the last 3 years can be amended if it was done wrong. Good question.
And you'll help me with that.
Yeah.
And then are they enrolled agents, CPAs?
Yes, enrolled agents. I've had enrolled agents, attorneys, and CPAs. All three of those can negotiate with the IRS. I've had all three of them over the 20 years. And the very best of all three of them, people would automatically think is an attorney. It's not. An attorney has a law degree, but they don't specialize in IRS tax. Enrolled agents do. They have to take special classes that are many, many hours long, pass really hard tests to get a license as an enrolled agent. I have enrolled agents now that work for me because they're the best.
We keep hearing about 86,000 new IRS agents that are going to, that are being hired. I have to ask you, is your company prepared for the great expansion that is gonna cause?
So far, they haven't hired 86,000 agents, and Congress is fighting right now over the budget to do that, so I don't think that's gonna happen. They might hire more, but it won't be 86,000. But yes, that's gonna create more business for me, because that's gonna be a lot of people that say, hey, and see, the other thing is the IRS operates on scare tactics. Fear and scare tactics. This guy that I told you about a minute ago that hadn't filed in 10 years, and they actually went to court to get a court order against him. When we called the revenue agent yesterday or the day before, she was ugly, nasty, and said to, not me, I wasn't on the phone, but my enrolled agent, she said, we got a bench warrant here, and we're gonna, if he doesn't show up in 10 days, we're going to arrest him and he's going to jail. Now, she doesn't know, she can't say that. She's not the person that does any arresting. And she used that scare tactic to one of my staff who got angry about it and told me. I said, file a complaint against her when this is over. So then we called the attorney, the Department of Justice attorney that was on the court case, talked to him, and he said, no, I'm not sending him to jail. I just want him to have his returns done in 10 days and show up at the meeting as scheduled. And I'm not here to put somebody in jail. So you can see how the IRS was trying to deal with us versus the attorney that issued the court order. So they operate by trying to scare you, and it works because people that call me are very scared. It works. Any other questions?
Do you help people that are in existing payment plans?
Yes, if you're in an existing payment plan and you don't think was done right, or maybe you want it lower, or maybe you can't afford the payment plan you're on, which happens a lot, come see me. I'll see if I can do better. Good question.
You do franchise tax board?
I do franchise tax board as well. They're nasty to deal with. Yeah. I mean, really, they're worse than the IRS, to be honest with you.
My neighbor works for him. All right.
Try not to sell him.
Okay, there's a question over here.
Does tax tiger help with the structure and forming or the advice on or any structures like LLCs and S corps?
No, that we don't do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
do you help with people that are the tax issues inside the corporations? Meaning, so if you have, like, you file, corporation and your personal, if any time the corporation is in trouble as well.
Yes, I do. We have a lot of corporate clients. Yes.
It seems like with the scare tactics that these people are using, that aren't they opening themselves to a lot of lawsuits themselves?
No, you can't sue the IRS. I mean, I guess theoretically you could, but no. They're not opening themselves to any lawsuits, no. That's how they get away with it.
All right. Is there one more question? All right. Well, hey, the feedback online, we're getting like, hey, this is the best speaker, so phenomenal. So everybody, please give her a big round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, team. So that's all we have for today. We'll see you at PCAR next Thursday. Have a great weekend, all.
As you guys know, video goes up in the morning, so if you want to listen to this or send us a call,
Yep, video will be up in the morning on YouTube, on Brent Gove's YouTube page. Bye online. Thanks for seeing you.